it's got to be at least like 32,000 words. There's a certain format you have to do, things like that. But in terms of content, it's pretty free for me to just experiment. When I find photos I want to use, getting the copyright permission. A lot of that I'm working with Alden. Some of the stuff is property of the archives. The other stuff could be property of the Athens News, the Post. So I have to get permission from them to use certain photos. And that's been the hardest part, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to organize it by the stories. The stories associated with certain locations. Some locations will be able to, I will have historical validation. Some of the locations I'll possibly be able to get into and talk about my experience of going there. Like the ridges, for example, I'm able to get inside and do stuff there, so I can contribute my own personal experiences and things like that. But other things, like there's a story about the cemeteries in Athens, like how you can connect it and like they make like a pentagram and stuff. Well, it's a neat story, but when you actually look at a map of all the cemeteries in Athens, it's just this big scatter plot. So you can literally draw a pentagram out of anything. So there's really no clout to that story at all. But I'll probably write about it just because like that's a story. But by me writing about it and explaining why there's no validity with the story, that's going to help shed some light on that legend in Athens. Well, I think the most interesting one and a lot of people know is the story of the stain at the ridges. How and this is historically true, but in the 70s, a patient who had a lot of freedom on the asylum grounds went missing, and she was missing for a long time, and they could never find her. And one day, I think a janitor opened up a part of the ridges that is like way isolated compared to where everyone else is, and she apparently wandered in there, got locked in, and no one could hear her screaming, so she basically just starved to death in that room, and she took her clothes off, folded it up, put it on the windowsill, and just lied down and died. And the decomposition of her body left a stain, which is still there. So I haven't seen it personally, but I will on Tuesday.